Hello everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review, well, sort of. This is a PlayStation VR title that I've noticed for a long time, but I've never really played until now. It is Spiderman, Far From Home, the VR experience. It was originally released on June 25th of 2019 for the PlayStation VR, the HTC Vive, and Oculus Rift. Now, one good thing about this is it is a completely free VR experience. Notice how I keep saying experience? Yeah, it pretty much is that. It's just an experience. Whenever you pick up anything that is in VR that says experience, that basically means you're going to have a short little fluff, as I call it, a fluff title, something that could actually show some sort of greatness that you could have in the future if you had a budget for it and actually made it into a full-fledged game. But hands down, this is free, so you cannot complain. So if you have your PSVR, your Vive, or your Oculus Rift, I could say dust it off to try this at least once, because it is free. It consists of two main story modes I shouldn't even say story modes. Two main modes with this, quote, title. First is story mode, where at first they will go through some rough training across the bridge that gets you down in the mechanics of how you actually swing using both of your move controllers to actually shoot the webs out. And in order to recharge them, you have to aim them away out of your view and hit the triggers to refill them. And basically, it teaches you how to use the buttons on the move controller. Some of them make you run forward, while the others will make you turn side to side, and the trigger button makes you jump. And you basically, once you do that, you are thrown into this story mission, where it just consists of you diving off of a building and swinging through the city, and a big giant robot shows up, and you have to stop this robot. Now, what you do is you have to, because the robot takes chunks of road up on them as armor, and you have to basically use your webbing to pull the pieces of the road off of him. And once you're able to do that, then by triggering your super move to make a web, you can capture the robot and defeat him. And that's really about it for, quote, the story mode. Now, first of all, I do not know what in Sam hell this has to do with Spider-Man Far From Home, because we all know Far From Home was not in New York. It does seem to have the voice actors of his best buddy and the guy that plays Spider-Man, but not too many lines of dialogue at all before they start repeating, a lot. So all you do is you fight this big-ass robot in the city, and that's about it for the, quote, story mode. Now, the other thing that I found that actually is kind of fun and I can recommend, especially for people who want to feel like Spider-Man, is to do the free play. That is actually kind of fun, where you get the whole world, the city, and you can just do whatever you want. There's some, sort of missions to do, like go here for like a time trial or something. But for the most part, it's just you swinging through the city, which honestly in VR is pretty damn cool. I mean, if you took the time to actually make a decent PSVR or an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift Spider-Man game, I could see it actually working quite well in a VR universe if some effort was put into it. This, hands down, there's not much effort because, it's free. They're not going to dump a bunch of money in something they're not going to recoup money from. So I understand this was a tie-in to the launch of the movie Far From Home, and I get that, so that's why I'm not going to knock it too bad. The free play is actually pretty cool. I mean, you can go around, you can run up walls, you can stick to the sides of buildings, you can, fly, you can dive, you can use your webs to swing, and the momentum, is actually pretty well done in this. You have to actually calculate holding the triggers to launch, to let off when you're actually going to shoot your web, to be able to swing, to pick up the momentum, to go from rooftop to building to building. And I actually could see this being a really cool game if they actually developed it. Now, overall, this is a very short, quote, experience. Once again, I say that because I think you can get through just about everything in this in about 20 minutes or less. It's not a hefty thing. Of course, it's not a large file on your hard drive either, so it's not like it's going to eat up any space at Doom Eternal or anything. So, I mean, if you have a VR, a PSVR, or something else, it's worth just to play at least once so you can actually somewhat feel like Spider-Man as you're going through the city. It does have a pretty good feeling of verticality to it. You do get that feeling in your stomach as you're falling from a building. So it does have some pretty cool aspects to it. It's just, once again, it's an experience, so you can't really expect it to really bring that much to the table. Now, I have to give some good points to this game and some bad points. First of all, the good aspects is this makes me want to see what they could do if they actually made a VR Spider-Man game. I think possibly with the next Spider-Man title, maybe they can work in some VR mode to it or something. I mean, honestly, the Move controllers are outdated as shit, and they're not the best controllers. I'd rather play this maybe on an Oculus. But hands down, it's still functional. It still works quite well. Honestly, I had a lot of fun swinging around the city. It was kind of fun. And compared to some games like Richie's Plank Experience, where all you do is just walk off a board and fall off a building, this one actually has a little bit of value to it. And Richie's, actually, they charge you money for it. This is actually free. So it does have that neat aspect that if you want to be Spider-Man, you can swing around the city. And, it is kind of fun. But now, here's the downside to this. You're only getting about 20 minutes of swinging. Now, free play mode, you can swing as along as your heart content. That's fine. But as for the, quote, story mode with the robot, it's very lame. You pull the chunks off. You get them stuck with your webbing, and then you shoot them, and that's about it. There's nothing that you get from this. Graphically, it is actually a pretty ugly game. It does not look good for a VR title. You can tell they didn't really put much into it. There's a lot of graphical glitches as well. You'll have textures on buildings like you wonk out on you. I've had issues with Spider-Man. Looks like he suffered some severe carpal tunnel syndrome, and his wrists look like they're snapped on backwards. And I realize that might be just my lighting in my apartment when I'm filming this, but you can even see it at the beginning of the video. It's like Spider-Man's wrists look like he broke them. And, honestly, it's really bad graphics. And the repetitiveness of the lines of dialogue gets old real fast. And there's no real amount of variety to this, quote, experience. I've played other games that are called experiences, like the Batman one, and that actually featured a lot of neat content to it. Even though it was short, you got to do a nice amount of stuff. You did have to pay for that, though. That was actually a paid title and not a free one. So, like I said, I'm not knocking this nowhere near as bad as it actually is, mainly because it's free. If it was any sort of money, then I would say stay away from this. But honestly, despite the fact that it has terrible graphics, the control can be kind of iffy at first until you get the hang of how the X and the X and square buttons will turn you, and the one button makes you run, and then the trigger buttons fire your webbing. Honestly, once you get the hang of it, it's actually kind of fun swinging around the city, feeling like Spider-Man for a little bit. Now, if there was more to it than that, I could actually say, hell yeah, go ahead and play this game. But I'm going to tell you that anyhow, just because it's free. I mean, if you have not played this yet, and you actually have a PlayStation VR, an HTC Vive, or an Oculus Rift, I can say download it and at least try it out today, because it is free. It doesn't cost you a damn thing. And in the end, even though it's not the best and in terms of graphics and gameplay, for a free experience on your VR, it's still fun as hell getting to swing from rooftop to rooftop as Spider-Man. Because in the end, we all want to be Spider-Man. He's one of the better characters out there. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Please hit the like icon if you liked this video. Leave a comment below if you played Spider-Man Far From Home, the VR experience. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.